Hey Dunchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and welcome to my review of the 7th studio album by American recording artist TobyMac. And if you know me at all, I've been a big fan of TobyMac for a long time. There's actually a poster of him right behind my back over here. Initially, when I heard about this album, which I have right here, I actually wasn't as excited as I had hoped to be. It was on my top hyped. If you follow me on Facebook, I had posted my top 10 albums I was most excited for this year. This album was on that list. I really like the lead single on this one, Beyond Me, but I think overall TobyMac, with the theme of this album, he was trying to go for this something, or at least with the cover and the name of the title, he was trying to go for something that this album wasn't, and maybe it might be just me, but the overall theme of this album, while listening to it, is something of a little bit more of where he's going with his live shows. You hear a lot of trumpets, a lot of funky elements, and you hear that kind of laid-back element of TobyMac. And with the theme of this album and the artwork and the name of the record and the title track, This Is Not a Test with Capital Kings, he's going for something a little bit more of a follow-up to his last album, Eye on It, which took a little bit more of an electronic dance element. And either way he could have gone, I probably would have liked the album, but the fact that both of these elements seem to be clashing and they somehow come together with this album is a little bit misleading. You can basically hear the entire style of this album by listening to one of the singles, Backseat Driver. By listening to that, you'll be able to hear basically what the entire album sound centers around. It's just very laid back, and it takes a little bit more hip-hop blend along with a couple maybe jazz elements. And you'll be able to hear some styles that we heard on Tonight. You'll be able to hear a little bit of portable sounds. You'll be able to compare tracks like Feel It on this album to tracks like Feelin' So Fly on Portable Sounds. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Actually, Feel It is one of my favorite tracks on the record. Definitely more of a funk approach. And I think if he would have cut out tracks like This Is Not a Test and made this album look like it was going to be around this sound, maybe featuring like a little bit more of the style that's shown off in this record. The Diverse City band, that is his live band anyway, they seem to center a lot more around the sound. Maybe he could have showed them on the cover instead. All in all, it's just very misleading. Like I said, This Is Not a Test is one of my least favorite tracks on this record because the style completely blows everything else away that this album centers around. And although I was kind of hoping TobyMac would pump out one last awesome record, it seems like that's not going to be the case. At the end of Light Shine Bright, there's a little bit where fans are asking TobyMac questions, and someone asks him, they say, you've been on this train a while, when do you think you're gonna slow down, when are you stopping? And TobyMac answers it with the track Till the Day I Die, basically saying that he's going to make music for as long as he can before his voice gives out, and he's going to continue on this path that he's going, which is kind of saddening because I was really hoping Toby would just kind of make one last awesome record and then just end his career. The road that I've seen TobyMac go over down the years has been very saddening, seeing his voice kind of go and his styles change and get toned down over and over again. I think if he'd make one last record before he gets super old, which is going to be the case, that would be the smart thing to do. He decides to go back and feature DC Talk, or for that matter, Newsboys, Michael Tate, and Kevin Max, who recently left Audio Adrenaline. This track doesn't really sound like a DC Talk track in my opinion. As for the DC Talk members, Toby happens to try to make this track sound a little bit more like his Momentum sound and his sounds with DC Talk more than the other two do, which is kind of crazy to think about because he was only 1/3 of the group, and the other two, I think Michael is trying to make this sound like a rejected Newsboys track, and Kevin is just on the track for doesn't really seem like anything. And overall, I'm not saying this album is bad in the slightest because it is a good listen and it's a good thorough listen. I just don't like how my main pick with it is how it tries to pull it off as a follow-up to Eye on It, and it's not at all. It's a completely different style for Toby, kind of relating to his live style. And I think if he would have pointed that out with the theme of the record, that would have made the album work a little bit better, rather than what we ended up getting. Some of my favorites on the album, like A Match, we get Till the Day I Die, which I actually did like, even though I was complaining about it. Feel It, the lead single Beyond Me, which it takes a little bit more of a slow, not really electronic, but pop sound. And I like how he kind of stretches the diversity with this one. It is a lot more diverse than a lot of his records, even though he is known for having very diverse records, like Tonight, which had ton of different styles. This is a very enjoyable record. Once again, Toby uses a lot of cheesy themes, and that's one of the things that I think his downfall is that he just keeps using. Although I am a Christian and I'm very outspoken about it, the themes that Toby uses aren't exactly appealing to non-Christian listeners. Even artists like Hillsong United or Lecrae can pull in people with these new kind of styles, and Toby doesn't really do that. People like Hillsong United deal with a lot of hard themes, and people on the 116 label. Other than that, Toby doesn't really seem to want to branch out and try to make songs more deep and about his life and struggles. It's just kind of silly, poppy Christian themes, and although they are enjoyable as tracks, that kind of takes away a little bit of the emotional side of the record, which I usually like to see. And anyway, I think I'm running a little low on time. I hope you guys did enjoy this album. What'd you think of it? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. I think that's a very fair rating. I did enjoy it for the most part, but the themes are a bit misleading, and the main pick is that and the silly, generic Christian pop themes. What do you guys think of this review? Let me know in the comments. Don't hate me for anything I said in this review because it's all my opinion. Anyway, have a nice day, guys. Peace out.